Hi, this is Marcus Toole, and I am in my yard. And actually, I'm actually in a little lot that's kind of adjacent to my yard that's owned by my cousins. And I've actually done a bit of clearing and cleaning in this lot. And there's a plum tree that was growing. This is actually the remnant of an old plum tree. This is actually the type of plum tree that this was is Toole's heirloom. And I actually have a nice Toole's heirloom, and there's a sucker growth that came up, and I have since grafted some Guthrie and some Odom and some Robusto plums into the sucker. Now I don't know how well the graft is going to take. All of them are Chickasaw plums with the exception of Robusto. And Robusto is a hybrid between the Chickasaw plum and the Japanese plum. So hopefully it should take. Over here I planted, in this little space here, I planted an Excelsior Chickasaw plum, and it's just barely a stick. Over the pear trees back here are beginning to bloom. They're kind of in the early stages of it. These are both basically unknown pear trees. This one has a really nice sweet pear, and you can tell that the flowers, some of the flowers are open on that one, and even more of the flowers are open on this one over here. This is not a soft pear. This is a hard pear here. This was probably a Cox. We have really no idea what this one. The pears are really good on both these big old trees. What tends to happen is the squirrels get all the pears. Hopefully they don't this year, but you never know. They tend to. This is an azalea, camellia bush that I planted last year, Lady Vanderstar, and what's kind of cool, it has a red version of it and a pink and white version of it on the same bush, and it's kind of a cool plant in that sense. This is another camellia bush I planted last year, and one of the things that's in my orchard that's really beginning to bloom are the huckleberries. In fact, they're even beginning to set fruit a little bit. Everything's early this year, including the azaleas. Everything is early, just about. This is a Betty Sheffield. As you can tell, we had a little bit of a frost a few weeks ago that kind of made some of the flowers kind of brown. Betty Sheffield was always my mom's favorite camellia. It is a pretty variegated. This is I believe this one's called Mercury, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's Mercury. And it's also a variegated type camellia. And it's very similar to Betty Sheffield, but the blooms aren't as fluffy looking. I have a few Professor Charles Sargents still blooming a little bit. The Japanese magnolia is finishing up. There's more huckleberries blooming. The blueberries have not started blooming yet, but they are getting really budding out quite a bit. I'm going to have a fairer number of huckleberries and blueberries this year if the birds don't get them all. Keeping the birds off of them is a real trick. This is a rubrum camellia, and it sure is pretty. This thing's been blooming all winter long. Actually, it started kind of like around Thanksgiving time. It's been blooming off and on ever since. It's really been pretty this year. And this pink camellia that I don't know what the variety is also been really pretty. It looks like it's about, it looks like it's got one more round of blooming in it, but it's also been blooming most of the season. This lighter pink one hasn't been blooming as long, but the camellias have been really pretty. This is another one that's been really pretty this year. Really been a nice camellia. Plum trees are still kind of asleep. The buds are beginning to swell a little bit. All the citrus trees have made it through winter just fine so far. And hopefully we're done with really cold weather, not just for the citrus trees, but also for the pear trees, which are beginning to bloom. The golden boy has just opened up its first flowers today. There they are. Boy, it really worries me that my fruit trees are blooming so early this year. The fig trees are beginning to put out a little bit. It's even a see even a little fig there. Try to get it in focus. Got the muscadines pruned. Gotten the fig trees pruned. They're all ready for the growing season to start. The lemon frost tree still looks good. This is a Orient pear, and I grafted an acre's home in the top branch. So hopefully this tree will be will have two varieties in it. We'll have Orient and Acres Home. Acres Home is supposedly a really high quality, kind of crunchy fruit. I've not grafted anything into any of the Asian pear. This is a 20th century Asian pear. They're the last to bloom in spring. Here's another fig tree. This is raspberry latte. This is a McKibben plum, also very dormant. The LeConte pear is not blooming yet, but it's getting ready to bloom. And I've also grafted in one of its branches. That's a warren that I grafted into there. Tennessee, scarlet pear. This is a Purdue pear that's just beginning to sprout some, and I've grafted another warren into it. Another Asian pear. This one is Shinko. More huckleberries, which are all blooming. Actually, it's got a little huckleberry on the huckleberry bush. Look at that. It's already formed. Camera doesn't want to focus on anything that close up. Tennessee is not blooming yet, but it's getting ready to. Southern Bartlett's got quite a few flowers open. It's Southern Bartlett's turning out to be an early bloomer, but it blooms for a long time. But it sure is early this year. And over here we have Southern King, and it's actually going to bloom a little bit this year. And in part of it I have grafted some Potomac pears in it. This is an Ayers pear with some Moonglow grafted in about half of the branches. So hopefully the tree will be about half Moonglow and about half pear of Ayers. This one here is another Ayers pear. This has in the top, it has a sort of a mystery pear that someone gave me last year as a graft, and they're grafted in, successful graft. And then this is a Leona pear that I also grafted in last year. And so those grafts are actually going to try to bloom this year. I'm not going to let them set fruit, but I am going to, they hopefully will grow. Now down here on the lower branches, I have grafted in some other Leona twigs. So basically this is going to become a Leona tree. This is a Korean giant pear that I have planted in the place of a plum tree that died, and so hopefully that'll be a late season pear that with really good storage quality. The Baldwin pear is blooming, and I have some more Leona grafted into the top of it. So anyway, this is my little report on my orchard. Thank you and God bless.